Does it work this time? Now even the Prism app has given me problems. I don't know how well this is going to work out if every single app gives me issues. But hopefully it works out okay this time. We can have some interesting conversations about Iran or religion or Trump or anything else you guys want to talk about. The weather recently and how, like, awfully stormy and rainy it's been over the past few weeks in the Deep South. We can talk about anything you guys want to. The choice is up to you. I leave that in your capable hands to deliver me interesting chat messages that will help direct the conversation in a captivating way. Hey there. Hey, Destiny. What's up? Glad to see you're back. Mama D is back. Good. Now, if all the other regulars can come through, then we'll be off to a run and start. Try number Tris. That was probably Trace. Hey, Impervious. For once, you're not here at the very end of the stream. Why is it every time I show up, you get a smile on your face from ear to ear? Well, because I just like seeing regulars. It's good to see people coming back to the channel time after time, you know? Especially when I first start up a stream and I'm not sure if it's like actually going out and then somebody that said they'd come through, you know, it's just nice. Let's see here. It seems like we're doing better in terms of the algorithmic placement, so maybe we managed to capture the right elements in the title this time. We'll see what happens. Tres, yes, that's what I thought you meant, Casey. But yeah, we're not going to do any call-ins tonight, but I am very interested in arguing with Maga chatters, religious chatters, insane chatters with weird conspiracy theories about the vaccine or a hollow earth, whatever you want to talk about. Bring me your best. I'm early, wow. Yes, you are, Lantern Gardener. Oh my god, you've actually changed your username. That is insane. Lantern Gardener is crazy. Did you hear about Chud the Builder? Yeah, we can talk about Chud if you want to. I think his name is not so toxic on YouTube now that I'm going to lose half my viewership just by mentioning it, which it seemed like that's how YouTube was treating it for a while. So yeah, Chud the Builder, well-deserved username, very apt online handle, basically made his living going around using what some states would consider inciting language, what some municipalities might consider fighting words, but what his particular municipality didn't happen to consider fighting words to basically pick fights with black and brown people all over the Nashville area. And his antics finally came to their rightful end when he thought he had the right, because he was going around starting fights with people, to respond with a gun when somebody was coming at him with fists, which is not what you do, by the way. That's not how you're supposed to respond. Like, even if, number one, like, going around shouting racial slurs at people with a gun on your hip and brandishing that shit anytime somebody comes after you, that's coward shit. That shit a motherfucker with no balls, no ovarian or testicular fortitude at all does. That's some fucking bigot shit. That's some fucking pussy shit. Now, setting that aside, it's also just not how you're supposed to conduct self-defense with a firearm. If you happen to get in a fight with somebody and they start coming at you with fists, you can draw it and you can, like, you might be able to get away with maybe aiming it in their general direction, maybe. But there ain't no way you are going to be able to get away with shooting them unless they continue to come after you. And most people are not. And if they are not coming at you with deadly force, which a fist is not deadly force, you cannot justify the use of deadly force against them. This has been well documented in police brutality cases throughout the years, as well as civilian self-defense cases. So Chud the Builder's dumbass is going away for a long time. And I think we can all give a big hearty round of applause to the fucking justice system of the United States of America for throwing his ass away. And if that doesn't happen, you can guarantee me and every other leftist in America will be taking to America's streets to make people know what happens when you allow this type of shit to go unpunished. Your parents fucked it up? Really? Because you're the one sitting around talking anonymous shit on a YouTube live with a fucking anonymous profile picture of a letter. Sounds like your parents might have fucked it up. Why aren't you doing something more interesting or productive with your life? What is your ideology? I'm a labor leftist. Phoebe, help. What, do you need me to turn on subs only mode or something? Yeah, probably. Let me do it. Hold on. That should clear out most of the spam bots if I just turn on that. So let me run over to this page, and this page, and that page, and this page, and that page. All right, there we go. You can still chat, you just have to press the subscriber button. This should prevent most of the spam bots and illegitimate chatters from actually being able to make a dent in the overall population of the stream, though. Hopefully that should make things a little more functional in here. Yeah, they're not going away completely. Just so you guys know, if you are interested in continuing to chat live after the hour mark, make sure you sign up for a membership, because that's when we go to a members-only live chat. We do 2 hours of stream. We do the first hour for everybody, and the second hour for everybody, minus the public chat. You know, I hope you have a good Pride Month. Thank you so much. I hope all of you have a wonderful Pride Month as well. And if you're sitting around wondering, why doesn't nobody else have a month? Look into it. They do. If you cared enough to want them to have a month, you would know that already. Guys, if you love Jesus, donate $50,000 to Phoebe. Indeed, if you love Jesus, donate as much as you possibly can to me right now. It is the Christ-like thing to do. Bro, you ain't tough? Who said shit about being tough? This is the machismo of the average cisgender man. You just have to read my chat to see it. Literally, I will say the most innocuous shit, and somebody will come in here saying some shit like, "You wanna fight?" It's like, Jesus, you chimp, settle down. Goddamn. That testosterone got you acting like fucking insane, bro. You are using people's faith for money? I've got a fucking pentagram on my fucking guitar. I've got a pentagram right there. People know that I'm joking when I say it's the Christ-like thing to do to donate to me, okay? They get it. Hence why nobody donated, just because I said that. Although they are perfectly welcome to do so if they would like to. I hate when the most obnoxious people share the same opinions as me. What makes me so obnoxious? Honestly, you're the one in my live stream. As far as I'm concerned, you're the obnoxious one for calling me obnoxious. All you have to do to get away from my obnoxious ass is to scroll away. If I want to get away from your ass, I've either got to ban you out of the chat, which is bad for engagement, or I've got to end the stream, which is coincidentally also bad for engagement. Are your parents proud of you? Exceedingly. Yes. I need to say something? Say whatever you'd like. So you believe Satan but not Jesus? No, I don't believe in any mythical figure for which there is no evidence. That includes Satan. That includes Zarathustra. That includes fucking, fucking all the gods in the Bhagavad Gita, That includes Jesus and Vishnu and every other God concept that has ever been conceptualized or that ever will be conceptualized, because none of them will be based on a predicate of evidence. What kind of trauma is this? Mostly religious trauma. Little CSA too. How much do you get paid per year? Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? There's only one God in Bhagavad Gita. It was a joke. I've not read it, so I'm not familiar with the work. You're probably right. Brush your teeth? I literally did like 2 hours ago. But nice try. Like every normal human being that has grown up brushing their teeth, but also having some vices that include coffee and smoking, I have teeth with a little bit of yellowing on them. Sorry that I can't afford veneers like every fucking celebrity you're used to seeing on the television. Love you, Phoebe. Do you know about Dark Matter 25? Yes, I love Dark Matter 2525.
He's got this incredibly deep voice, and everything he says sounds so authoritative. As a result, everything that comes out of his mouth sounds automatically authoritative.
I love Dark Matter. Very smart guy, but also has like the build and the voice. Like, dude is literally like the living embodiment of the Chad meme. Not even kidding. Dude is literally a living, breathing Chad Wojak. So, yeah. Your teeth on the last leg? They're yellow, but they're all there. Meanwhile, I bet half the fucking hayseeds talking in here about my teeth to me don't have a fucking tooth in their head that they were born with. I'm sorry, don't have a tooth in their fucking head that they've had since their teenage years, maybe is a better way to put it. Half the motherfuckers talking shit about my teeth have had their teeth extracted long ago and replaced by a set of ill-fitting dentures. And yet they're gonna sit here and talk shit on me, who's still got natural fucking teeth. What a fucked up realization is that? Let me just pull you guys up an interesting statistic, okay? What percentage of U.S. adults have at least 3 false teeth? Over half of all American adults are missing at least one permanent tooth. So I want to repeat that again. Over half of all American adults, about 178 million people, are missing at least one permanent tooth. So that's not including wisdom teeth or anything. I got all my permanent teeth, bitches. So I'm in the fucking half of Americans that, despite our tooth yellowing and everything else, are able to keep the motherfuckers. So I'd appreciate it if you would keep your tooth comments to yourself, because it is a clear and obvious sign of projection. You can continue obsessing about it if you want, but it just makes you look like a crowd of itinerant morons when the whole topic of the fucking stream is supposed to be having interesting political and philosophical discussions. Thank you for the $1 super chat earlier. I did see that out of somebody. Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. Dang it, this thing doesn't want to smoke anymore. People like you are the reason America is falling apart? No, pretty sure that's the Trump MAGA fascists that continue to support an unelectable, evil moron, even as he literally rapes the country to death and makes everyone's gas prices fucking twice as high as they needed to be, at a time when everybody wants to drive. How much do you weigh? Not so much that I broke your dad's back when I was fucking him in the ass last night. No, you just lie? Well, luckily for me, there's no one that's intelligent or well-informed enough to fucking refute me, as evidenced by the weak-ass comments that I keep getting in this chat. What do you offer more than Trump? I advocate for universal health care. Number one, I'm not running for fucking president, nor am I postulating myself as a leader of the fucking country. But even I, layperson YouTuber bitch that I am, can look around at what we got and say, ain't good enough. And I've got the fucking vision, unlike most of you, to fucking see. God damn it, can I keep this thing in my hand? I've got the vision, unlike most of you, to see that America could be better. That we could have a functional high-speed rail system connecting every major city in this country. That we could have a universal healthcare system that provides an not just adequate, but a fucking good, a premium quality of healthcare for every man, woman, child, and non-binary person besides in this country. I believe we can do these things. You know why? Because I'm a fucking American. And I believe in democracy. And I believe in the power of this country to do better than we've allowed it to do over the course of the last 30 years. Forgive me for being so faithful. Forgive me for being so fucking patriotic that I look around at what we got. Higher and higher gas prices, higher and higher rent prices, worse and worse transit, worse and worse roads, and say, no, this isn't good enough. We need a new deal, a better deal. You might even say a green new deal. Trump got under your skin so badly you transitioned? I transitioned at the ass end of the first Trump administration, and most of my life as a trans woman was, mind you, like my life as a trans woman was spent under the Joe Biden administration. So, was I? Or did I come out because Joe Biden was right around the corner? I don't know. What's the weird fantasy in your head now that you've gotten an extra detail about me? You're not a real woman? Just because you say that doesn't make it actually true. I am a real woman, and I would put to you to prove that I am not a woman in any way that does not also exclude women that you would want to include in that definition. So what's a woman? A person who identifies with the social, aesthetic, and other sort of like signifiers that are or not traditionally, but typically associated with femininity at the time in which the reference subject is, or I'm sorry, in which the subject is being referenced. Can you give birth? No, and neither can a woman with Mayer-Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome, nor most women with endometriosis. nor can most women with ovarian cysts, uterine cancer. Lots of different things can make a woman unable to give birth. Does that make her any less of a woman? Not unless you think, genuinely and unironically, that the only purpose or point behind a woman's existence is to give birth and make babies and to do pleasure for men. Which, even on that aspect, trans women should still count at least by half. But we'll put that aside for a second and point out that the main reasons by which people will try to exclude trans women are all of the reasons by which patriarchy excludes society from women and treats women differently, usually on the basis of their sex assigned at birth. Not even so much on the basis of like assumed like traditional femininity or anything like that, because that's been so broken up over time. It's literally just like sex-based assumptions that go to play almost in every situation that need to be demolished and done away with. And I don't see why this is such a hard point for so many people to grasp, genuinely. Talk about how the Zionists cucked the alt-right, and now, what now? Now they're holding the genocide slash sexual abuse bag. I don't think that means they cucked the alt-right. The alt-right is just as responsible for fucking sexual exploitation, genocide, and all kinds of crazy shit like that as the Zionists are. You have to understand these not as two opposing forces, but as fair weather friends that will eventually turn on each other if allowed to fester long enough, right? So, like, the Zionists utilize the alt-right in their propaganda as, like, a unifying force and covertly as organizing agents. And the alt-right uses the Zionists as a constant threat to bolster their own power. But ultimately, what they end up going for, the policies they end up advocating for, the things that they put forward and make real are the same. It's the same kind of outcome. And if at some point they end up fighting, it will only be because of differences in their particular vision of fascism. Stop spamming your Discord. I'm not adding your Discord to debate you. Dude, all of the Oliver Tree references make me kind of sad because that dude just died. Y'all are awful. You guys are terrible. You know that? Do y'all know? Do you know? I guess we're gonna have to do a slow mode too. I was hoping we wouldn't have to do a slow mode, but I do want to keep up the chat interaction. I want to keep up the good vibes, so let's do a message delay. Okay. This should make it a lot easier for me to keep track of what's going on. Remember, let's see, in about, what would it be? In about 35 minutes, we will be switching over to a members-only live chat. And if you want to continue participating in the chat, you will have to be a member of the channel. So go ahead and sign up for that. They're kept nice and affordable for you guys. And it gives you access to lots of privileges like that and many others. So feel free to give some memberships as well if you just want to support the channel. Thank you guys. What if bought you, huh? Girl, I don't get the hate. You are a woman and a strong one for putting up with all these dumbass homophobic people. Happy Pride Month. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no. That's the way I feel. I am completely confident and strong in my femininity. I don't feel the least bit challenged by these retards, but it does, I think, demonstrate something about the sheer hatefulness of people that are allowed to spew their hateful rhetoric with the cover of a screen and a text chat, right? Because none of these people, if I were to bring them on via voice, none of them would act this way. And if they did try to act this way, the closest they might get is spamming the N-bomb, maybe. They might spam the M-bomb or the F-bomb or something like that, but they're not actually going to come with arguments. And if they do, they're going to be shitty ones. And even if they're not, like, on the face of them shitty, they're going to be badly reasoned. And on top of being those things, they're also not going to have the same energy that they came in to chat with, which is one of the biggest problems with doing the whole voice debate thing. See, when you debate people over text, like I do on these vertical streams, you get people at their most willing to be retarded and hateful. People will say, like I said, the most reprehensible shit online when they're behind a screen and all they've got to worry about is the text. But it takes a lot more for them to bring that same energy into the voice chat. So you get a more real version of them, or at least a more exaggerated version of themselves that I think represents what they want to be and what they might be if they were allowed to become that, maybe. It's hard to explain, but I think you guys spend enough time on this channel to know what I'm talking about. I love your videos. Keep the work. Thank you so much, Cookies2034. I appreciate the $4.99. If anybody else would like to contribute to the channel, feel free to do so, either via Super Chat or I've got a Cash App down below. Either way helps a ton, and I appreciate you guys a lot for it. I debate people at my leisure. If I do a call-in stream, then it's on people who want to debate me to know when that's happening, to stay abridged of the channel enough for that to happen. If they don't, then I guess they didn't want it that bad. And I'm not doing it tonight, because frankly, the last time I tried to set it up, which was yesterday, it was just a nightmare. So I'm going to wait a few days, I'm going to try out a few different platforms, and I'm going to do like an experimental stream in the next couple days, and we'll see what we can puzzle out. I'll probably end up using Call-in Studio. What do you think would benefit us more, the 10 to 20% universal baseline tariffs or the increased corporate tax proposed by Harris? Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Kamala Harris, like, in general. I don't think her policies went nearly far enough, but any kind of tax that is going to apply to American corporations and be designed to be impossible or very difficult for them to wiggle out of is going to be way better than any tax that comes on the back of tariffs and shit like, or I'm sorry, any income that comes on the back of tariffs. Because tariffs, I think they've done studies on this, and I think the number they've came up with is like 95% of the cost is borne by the consumer. Whereas that is not true of taxes. Like, you can do quite a bit with actual taxes with the corporations and people who make income and stuff, like, in your country, without the prices all necessarily having to go up. And especially without them having to go up as fast as they will if you've got sweeping tariff policies. Why are you spitting like that? Because I have, overproduction of mucus in my sinuses, and it gets uncomfortable sometimes. Most people support abortion. True. Very true. The vast majority of people support a woman's right to choose. Or, frankly, a person with a uterus's right to choose whether or not they want to carry a child. Because there are trans men who get pregnant sometimes too. Non-binary people as well. Honestly, as much is happening in this world, but I haven't even got to the politics, want to not worry about it, but I feel like I need to be more aware of it. Well, that's the thing, right? If you don't worry about politics, politics is going to worry about you, right? And really, a better evolution to that saying, and one I prefer, that is, I think, of my own creation, is regardless of whether or not you worry about politics, politics is very worried about you. Politics is literally the practice of implementing the policies that affect your life, how you're able to live. Like, if you're able to smoke weed now in a legal state and you can just go buy it from a dispensary, that's because of politics. Not even kidding. I participated in that political process for the state of Missouri. I was like a petition distributor is what they call it. So I was getting signatures for petitions to get that proposed to get that ballot initiative on the ballot for that year, to get that proposed amendment passed, and it did. And it got on the ballot, and then it was passed by Missouri voters and fully implemented over the next 2 years after it. And that is a direct result of politics. It was a direct result of over 40 years worth of people campaigning against. First, they were just campaigning against the war on drugs in general, and some of them were campaigning for specific ones. But a dedicated cannabis community built up over time, and then there were like dedicated activists just for that single cause. They managed to get enough political sway to make the arguments in front of enough people, to get people to understand what an important issue it is, to make sure people have access to this, to make sure that they're not criminalized for using it. And boom, yada yada, you get legal cannabis. It's a political process. If something is ever banned in your country or your state, it will be through a political process. And that's why I encourage people not to worry about it, but to be informed about it. Just because you know what's going on doesn't mean you have to think about it every second of your day. And in fact, I encourage you not to. Don't think about politics every second of your day. It's not healthy for you at all. It's not good for you. It's very bad for you. But you should stay informed. You should try your best to stay informed and to use that information whenever those topics come up, and whenever you've got an opportunity to try and make change, whether that's through a conversation with a friend or a coworker or at a protest or something like that. You live in a delusion? All right. Okay. Like, what am I even supposed to do with that? Are you going to be the one to fucking pull me out of it if I am? Number one. Number two, who the fuck are you, Internet MD, to tell me what I'm going through? What a presuppositional self-righteous comment. Yay, happy 420 indeed. Can you play that guitar? I can indeed. And I might for my members, which, by the way, in about 25 minutes, it's going to be a members only live chat, so make sure you sign up now. Very cheap, very affordable. What do you think of geoism? I've never heard of it. Why are you ignoring me? I'm not. I can tell you what, though, I'm fucking sick to death of that shit. Get the fuck out of here. Be gone. Good night, Stacy. It's self-righteous It's self-righteous to assume you have other people all figured out based on limited information. I really don't. I just cold read people, and more often than not, I'm right. And because of that, it gets people very pissed off because of my accurate judgments. And really, like, the more you know about human beings and the more you know about, like, personalities and shit, the better you can get at hot reading, which is what I meant. Okay, interesting, Goosel Schmoo. What makes you a woman that keeps me from being a woman? Thank you, King Bugs, for the 5 gifted memberships, making sure we got plenty of attendees here in a few minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Google Schmoo or whatever your name was, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for you. We're going to have this little argument you want to have, and I don't think it's going to come out the way you think it's going to. My DNA? Interesting. Did you know that there are people who are assigned male at birth born with XX chromosomes and people who are assigned female at birth who are born with XY chromosomes? So that's not actually that good a definition, actually. Yeah. Did you know that doctors don't assign, they announce? No, they do assign. Apparently, you don't know about the 1.7% of people worldwide that are intersex, where the doctors literally just make their best guess at what would be easiest to make the kid appear as, what they would probably be had the intersex condition not happened, and they make a choice for the baby with the parents as to what that kid's gender and sex assignment is going to be in the future. And that's literally, we're just talking about the 1.7% of intersex people there. We're not even talking about trans people yet. Which, if you combined intersex and trans people together, you would have roughly 2% of the global population. That's millions of people. So you can't just exclude us all because we don't fit your narrow definition. Lamau, that guy that said you were only born with male chromosomes, I don't think that person knows a fucking thing about chromosomes, and that's generally the thought I have when it comes to arguments like this. Most of these people don't know a thing about genetics, they don't know a thing about epigenetics, they don't know a thing about transgender people, or the literal 100 of years. Not 100 of years, the literal 100 of... Why do I keep wanting to say it that way? The literal 100 years, there we go, worth of research, finally, that has happened on trans people. And it's probably more than 100 years, but it's been at least 100 years that we know about for sure. But there were people talking about the phenomenon of trans people all the way back in the 1880s. And honestly, like way before that too, but I'm talking about like in the modern sense, using words that we might recognize. But there have been people like me and people like trans men that, like people like that, like people like us, we have existed for fucking as long as human beings have existed, as far as we can tell. There are stories through the ages, there is evidence through the ages that points towards the existence of trans and gender non-conforming people in all kinds of different societies for a long time. And when people talk about gender ideology being a new thing, it's not. In fact, transphobia is the new ideology. For the longest time, trans people and gender non-conforming people were seen as an innocuous, harmless oddity. Which is what we are. You know? Until they evolve the children with all those fucked up books in school? Oh, like what? Name one. Name one and name how many libraries that it's in. Can everyone please double tap that screen? It helps improve the algorithm. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, Nicole Hahn. Thank you. Thank you. Remember, if you're enjoying the stream, you can support in a number of different ways. And the best way to make sure that your comment or question gets read or answered is to send a question as a super chat. I thought you died in a helicopter crash? No. That was actually my stunt double. Yeah. I know. The death rumors have been greatly exaggerated, everybody. I'm just gonna start leaning into it. Fuck it. Will that expose me? Probably. Never mind. I'm not Oliver Tree. Stop confusing me for Oliver Tree. Don't send me money because you think I'm fucking ugly rapper Oliver Tree. And I say that with all the love in my heart, by the way. Oliver embraced his ugliness just as I embrace my own. And if there was anything I related to Oliver Tree on, it was literally that. I'm not a huge fan of his music or anything like that, but as far as that kind of attitude, yeah, as like I'm not I'm not a super conventionally attractive woman, and it's nice for me to hear other people and people that have like status and shit saying, you don't gotta be fucking pretty. You really don't. Even before I was famous, I still had friends and dates and all this because it's about your personality. And that's something that I believed for a long time, but it's always nice to see somebody else saying it. Burn that flag, that star is horrible. How about you fucking make me? I ain't burning shit except maybe an American flag again. If I get a hair up my ass to do it. Can I be 10/foil? I need to know. Sure. Yeah. You can be, yeah, that can be your pronouns if you want. Yeah, everybody in chat, make sure you refer to CXR with their preferred pronouns. So if 10 says 10 wants to be referred to with 10 and foil, we will do our best to accommodate 10's wishes. And if foil wishes to correct us at some point, then 10 can let us know. I think doctors do a little more work than just throwing a dart in the board, LOL, in relation to intersex, but I'm no expert. Yeah, I didn't say that they just throw a dart at the board. I said what they do is they give their best guess at what will be easiest to allow that kid to be growing up, and like what. Because sometimes the genitalia is so ambiguous as to need surgical intervention, and a decision needs to be made. Will you make a penis or will you make a vagina? Because it's not, they don't exactly have either one. They've got like some combination of the two. They've got like malformed, not, well, I guess that's the right way to put it. Yeah. They've got malformed genitalia that have to be worked on. They have to do something with it. Or at least that's the presumption. That was the presumption for a long time. Now we know that that's not true. That unless there are like obstructions or something like that, that most of the time intersex people can be left without intervention for long enough for them to develop on their own and to decide how they want their sexual and gender expression to look like. But in most cases, that's not allowed, and the doctor and parents make a decision for that child before they are ever able to talk. And nobody has any problem with that because it helps to ensure and perpetuate the system of like the hard gender binary and that false dichotomy. It helps to keep kids within a normal set of expression that is within a normal set range of expression that is comfortable for the parents and for broader society. But it's not actually medically necessary. $200 cash right now if you burn any flag on stream right now. It's been raining all night. I'm just gonna have to fucking skip out on that $200 because it's been raining. And I don't have a spare flag anyway. I'm certainly not burning that one because I actually do like my Pride Progress flag. Pride Progress Peace flag. I like that one, and I don't have an American flag just lying around. Would you burn an Iran flag? Sure, yeah. You realize there's two different Iranian flags too, right? You realize there's the flag of the Reza Pahlavi, right? There's the flag of the Pahlavi family. There's also the flag of the current Iranian theocracy. And they look very similar, but they have a big distinction that's pretty easy to see right in the middle. So yeah, I could just burn a Shah flag. And if I burned a flag of the Shah, somehow I don't think that would be exactly what you have in mind. But yeah, I would burn the flag of the Iranian theocracy because I don't give a fuck about the Iranian theocracy. I give a fuck about the right of the people of Iran to live unmolested by Western capital interests. What do you guys not understand about this? I'll make the point again in case anybody didn't hear it earlier. Iran will normalize as a country a lot faster if we normalize our relationship with them. They will liberalize over time, just as they were doing in the fucking 60s and 70s before we fucking stuck our dirty little fingers in there. Well, actually, that was after we had stuck our dirty little fingers in there. Sorry, that started back in the fucking 50s. But before we fucking started getting our tentacles so deep in that country that it was coming out of every banker's asshole in Iran, that country was starting to liberalize intensively. And then we made conditions so bad there through our extraction and through the fucking, through our allowances and fucking, just refusal to condemn the actions of the Shah, and with our participation in his atrocities, we basically poisoned the Iranian people against the idea of America, of American intervention. And there was a critical mass of those people that decided to rise up against the mullahs, or I'm sorry, not to rise up against the mullahs, but to rise up with the mullahs against the Pahlavi government and the Shah and monarchical rule, and set up what is now called the Iranian Republic, or I'm sorry, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And I oppose that theocratic government, but I also recognize that it is a direct result of Western intervention in that country that would not exist had it not been for that Western intervention. It was already starting to modernize in the 50s when we fucked with it the first time. And it did nothing but continue to modernize until things got so bad in terms of the corruption that was going on the back end that people became so fucking pissed off that they revolted against Western power and influence in their country, and that meant revolting against the Shah and setting up, in this case, a theocratic government that regularly kills protesters, that enforces a watered-down form of Sharia, and that is just generally recognized as awful to its people. And I don't support that regime any more than I support the failed foreign policy decisions of America and Great Britain that led to its fucking creation. And if you want to resolve it, it's going to be a long road to hoe. You better wake up at 5 in the morning to tend that field. Why are you cussing? Because I fucking want to. Got a problem with it? There's plenty of other streams on YouTube. Can you show me your guitar? Is that one good? Is that a good look? I think somebody sent a cash app, or not a cash app, but a super chat. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they didn't. Do you support ICE? If not, why? No, I do not support ICE. I think immigration and immigrants add to this country. They do not subtract. They do not take away. They add to our cultural expression. They add to our labor output. They are a net benefit for this country. And I don't agree with any fucking policy that would seek to round them up and ship them off to fucking camps to have them expelled to other countries. Not only that, but Trump's iteration of ICE, this like new iteration of ICE we've seen under the Trump administration, is perhaps its worst iteration yet. The most brutal ICE has ever been in its history. It's committing some of the worst atrocities that have ever been committed by like American border security forces since the inception of this hardcore border shit. And I genuinely believe that there are thousands of ICE officers who will be eligible for prosecution at the end of Trump's term. I don't, because I don't like government agencies in general, federal agencies, that is. Why though? Why though? Let me put it this way. Trust me, you want a federal Department of Education. You know why? Because if you don't, schools in the Deep South going to start teaching creationism as the fucking primary method by which all life was created. Kids are going to start growing up stupider and stupider, and stupid people go for stupid political philosophies and are easily led by intrepid people that are smarter than them because they actually went outside the South to go to fucking universities and shit and do their schooling and stuff. And by the way, this is how the South has been for most of its history. It's actually like what I am fighting for when I talk about like doing progressive politics in the South is the maintenance of a trajectory towards progress that we are just now being torn off of, right? The South has been getting more progressive over the last 20 years until now. Over the last 5 years, so I'd say over the last like 30 years in general, it's been getting more progressive. Over the last 5 years, there's been kind of a turn the other way. Slowly but surely. Like that shit's getting pulled back, and it's getting pulled back in big ways in certain policy areas. But the South has pretty much always been lorded over by intellectuals, not even intellectuals, I shouldn't say that, by aristocratic elites who go to the schools of the northern intellectuals for their education and often attend boarding schools and shit like that in areas where there's really good primary, secondary, and higher education. And they come back down to the South where their family is based and their business is based, and they lord over the people down there. And that's how it's been for like 250 years down here. And that's only kind of started to slowly sort of fucking change in like the last 30 years. Over the last 30 years, more small business owners have been getting in on county positions and shit like that. More people that are less involved in the fucking giant money pit and the good old boys club are beginning to make it in local and state level politics in the South. And I think that that trajectory can continue, honestly. But it requires the voices of people like me. Immigrants actually have a lower crime rate than native-born citizens. I don't know where you're getting your information, because that's the most valid information that we have. Like, the most reliable data we have on the matter indicates that immigrants actually have a lower crime rate than native-born people. And if you think about it, that makes sense, right? If you're an immigrant to this country, whether you're legal or illegal, no matter who's in office, it makes sense for you to try your best to stay out of crime unless you are literally only here to do crime. And very few immigrants are. But if you're not, and you're just trying to like work a day labor job, and or like if you're like an immigrant who is here legally and documented and everything, and you've got some kind of higher level factory job, or you've got a job with some firm or something, you're not going to do anything to jeopardize that, or at least very few immigrants do. Because it just does not make any sense to draw extra attention to yourself like that unless you are already doing criminal shit. And criminals are gonna fucking find a way, dude. I'm not saying that means you give up on the pursuit of criminals, but honestly, crime has gone way down since the 90s, and I feel like that's a sign that maybe something's working, and we need to fucking figure out ways to deal with the immigration problem, which is evidently not a source of criminality in the first place, in a way that is humane. Super important point right here. The problem with the job market isn't immigrants. It's ghost jobs and AI and greed. Greed is the number one thing causing society to fail. Yes, 100%. Yeah, the problem with the job market in your area is not the Mexican dude working lawn care for the gated community or whatever. It is the AI data center that's popping up in the country town 60 miles away from where you live that you don't care about because it's not going to affect you, but that's affecting everybody there's sleep and is getting ready to replace at least, I don't know how many, like, I heard a number and I can't recall it off the top of my head, but I've heard someone talk about this. Like, for every data center that goes up, once this technology is perfected to a point where the implementations of it are so refined that people can actually start implementing it at scale for their companies and it starts actually replacing jobs, it's not going to be much per data center at first. It might be 100,000 jobs per data center gets lost at first. Maybe it'll be even less. Maybe it's 10,000 jobs per data center go away. But when they perfect this technology, every data center will start to represent like a loss of 3 million jobs or some shit like that after all is said and done. And that kind of thing is not like the consequences, I should say, of that are not being abated by any kind of policy moves anywhere in our government. There is no one proposing a universal basic income that might rescue people on the lower rungs of the ladder from the worst excesses of capitalism as they literally just start to lose their jobs and their income and their ability to support themselves. There's no plan for a universal basic income that will cushion those people's fall. There's no plan for a universal food stipend that will make sure that every human being and child in this country, every fucking man, woman, child, and non-binary person besides in this country can get fed. None of these policy moves are being made. And unless they're being made, you can look at this increased development and eye towards AI development and shit as a sign that they are kind of coming for us. 100,000 jobs gone and data centers will need armed guards. I guarantee you a lot of them already have it. And people often don't realize that security is out of place either. Security doesn't always security will be in a super high vis vehicle and shit like that for the basic patrols and shit. And in certain environments, they're not even going to use that at all because they don't want you to know they're there. They don't want you to feel like it's that. Yeah, there's psychological aspects to it, but yeah, I guarantee you a lot of these data centers already have armed guards. Um, Probably a lot more of them have like basic security at all times, and I guarantee you every single one of them is being remotely monitored with a huge network of cameras. I meant more like militaristic armed guards with rifles, not Paul Blart with a handgun. I know what you mean, but unfortunately, Paul Blart with a handgun is enough to stop quite a lot of people. And if you're thinking that people are going to be marching to the AI data center with their gasoline and pitchforks in tow, then, well, I don't know. If we've got that kind of mass movement in us, why aren't we marching on Washington, D.C. with a peaceful fucking sit-in that stays there for 3 months or however long it takes for us to get our fucking concessions? Because if there's that kind of mobility in us, why can't we do that? People also forget every political system is made up. Yeah, capitalism wasn't like envisioned by the gods, it wasn't granted to us by the Lord. It was made up by human beings to satisfy the desires of the time and to, basically to quantify and legitimize the shifting power structures that were evolving. Power was shifting away from landowning elites and towards wealthy landowning elites and merchant elites. And slowly but surely, the landowning part became less and less important, or at least it did for a long time. thoughts on the Epstein files and how it's progressed slash suppressed. Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of motivation on pretty much all sides of politics to suppress the Epstein files, to keep people from seeing what's in all of them. Not all of them, but I'm saying, like, they don't want us to see every single file. They also don't want us to know what are in a lot of those redactings. And I have found too, by the way, if you guys are interested in this, you really want to uncover some dark shit or just be wondering at the kind of shit that they might be trying to cover up, do some searches on some shit. Just think of some things that maybe might pull some search terms up, right? And then click through some links in succession and see if you can find the same file uploaded twice with different redactions. I have found that at least 3 different times, and I've saved the files that were related, because it's just fascinating to me to see one document that is clearly the same as another document, but on this document 2 names are redacted, and on this other document half the fucking thing is redacted. Honestly, I'm not strong enough to look through those files. It may really breaks me into a million bits, that stuff. I can't blame you. It's horrible to think about. Reprehensible to think about how many people were doing that type of shit, how callous they were about it, how nonchalant they were about it. It's fucking sick. What do you think about JD Vance? I liked him a lot better when he was calling Trump America's Hitler. I'll put it that way. I like JD Vance a lot better when he was texting his Republican colleagues about how Trump might be America's next Hitler. Or whatever he said. What is your opinion on how political trans issues became? Do you see it as good or bad? Bad, honestly, because like what trans people were advocating for was, for the most part, not even like fucking legislative action. In a lot of cases, were there a few trans activists and a few well-meaning liberals in some places that were like really pushing hard for like hate speech laws to cover misgendering and stuff like that? Sure, but it wasn't the it was never like the bulk of the movement or the bulk of the advocacy, I feel like. And there was never any point at which trans people were like asking for too much, you know? Like, I don't know when you could ever look back at our movement and be like, yeah, this is when we were definitely talking too much shit or asking for too much. Because it's like, what even legislative action was being proposed? There were trans people, who made the argument that we should have universal health care that should cover trans people, which I agree with, and that's a good argument, and it is something you can defend very easily and simply from a lot of different perspectives. And I guess you could argue that maybe that's like a legislative push, but it's not really any different from just saying, I want universal health care. Most people that are rational are going to want that to include healthcare for trans people. So it's not like it's some insane fucking position to have. But it is an hour 3, which means I'm going to switch it over to a members only live chat. If you want to continue participating in the chat, make sure you sign up for a membership. I deeply encourage you to do so. We have a lot of fun on the members only live chats. Alrighty. Members and mods, members and mods, members and mods live chat. You got a gifted membership? Yay, you can stick around. Isn't that awesome? It is well documented that JD Vance had a sexual relationship with a couch. He is a couch fucker, but I don't hold that against him. Because honestly, when you're like a horny teenager, you know, like I was that once upon a time, and I can imagine, you know, doing some things. So I don't even hold that against him. JD Vance can fuck a couch in the White House, as far as I'm concerned, if he has good policy, which is where we run into problems, right? Oh. See, if I'm going to disqualify JD Vance merely on the basis of him being a couch fucker, I also have to exclude any future possible progressive candidate which may also be a couch fucker. And what if we get like basically Bernie Sanders, but he's a couch fucker? So you can't, you know, like you can't have like an axiomatic position against couch fucking. Phoebe's cute shirt, by the way. Thank you. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, I bought some more improvements, by the way, for the computer and the inside set. So I gotta start doing some more desktop streams in there. I bought a chair. I know, crazy, right? No, seriously, I bought a chair, and an M2 drive for my computer. So I can stick the fucking M2 drive in my PC and assemble my chair, and I will no longer have a squeaky, loud, annoying piece of shit chair. Holy shit, a chair. I know. It does sound nuts. I mean, it sounds like innocuous and silly. Like why the fuck would you even care about buying a chair? Like why does that matter that much? Listen, the chair I have right now is not very comfortable, okay? It's just not very comfortable. It's fallen the fuck apart. It's old, and I'm just not sure it's going to last that much longer. And it's ugly too. It's like it's real bad looking because it's old. Like I said, I found it on the fucking side of the road somewhere. I found it being like thrown away basically, and I rescued it from the garbage. It was like next to a dumpster or a donation bin or something. And it was one of those places I wasn't even going to take it. So I was like, all right, I'll take it. Because it didn't look that bad, and I needed a computer chair that I could easily move around on a hardwood floor or anything else. And so I got it. But now that I've got the money to actually upgrade that shit to a proper chair that can hold my fat ass comfortably and that will at least last until I can get a permanent, super nice upgrade chair, I think this one will last a good 3-5 years maybe before it needs replaced. And hopefully by that point I'll have enough saved up where I can just drop a couple grand on a really fucking nice, high level, 10-year warranty chair. I care, I'm just being funny. Nice chairs are great to have. Yes, indeed. I spent about $200 on the chair that I bought, which is, from my understanding, and the package is said to weigh 44 pounds. So that tells me that it's going to be made out of pretty sturdy materials, but it's also polyurethane leather, so it's like pleather. Like, that shit does tend to flake after a while. It's also remarkably easy to puncture. So I'll have to be careful about that. But yeah. I didn't get like the cheapest chair on the market, but I wanted to get one that was budget friendly and comfortable. So, and I think I found one that'll fit that. I suppose I can understand disapproval of furniture loving making in principle. Furniture loving making? I don't. I don't understand it. You can fuck a couch in my eyes. Hello, Tizzy. What's up? Yeah, in my mind, you can fuck a couch. It's fine. You're allowed to fuck a couch. If JD Vance at least cleaned the couch afterwards, I could look past it. But I know that pig like to wallow in the waste. Oh, gross, dude. Okay, the phone is getting low on charge, so I'm gonna unplug the mics for a minute and put them back in their charging case. and plug up the battery. My gaming chair is the worst piece of shit ever. It's like metal and stuff. Oh no. That's not good. I used to work at Office Max, so I know a fair bit about office chairs and stuff. And a decent, just baseline level, decent office chair begins at $165. And that's probably gone up. Now it probably begins at like $200, which is why I think I probably did okay, but I'm looking forward to having to replace it in 3 to 5 years. But you can get a cheaper office chair than that. And when you do, you often end up with an uncomfortable piece of shit. Or, like, you will end up with an uncomfortable piece of shit, or something that is not a piece of shit, but really uncomfortable, or pretty comfortable, but a total piece of shit. Like an even worse piece of shit than the other one. I'm in the process of waiting on my new electronic wheelchair. Completely different context, of course, but I'm excited to get it. I'll be emerald green. It'll be... Oh, that's so cool. That's a beautiful color. Yeah, no, I can see why you'd be excited for that, for sure. Probably way more excited than I am for my fucking dumbass chair. Because an electric mobility chair, like an electric wheelchair, is actually like mobility, dude. That's the ability to get around and have some of your own personal freedom and autonomy. So, and I mean, I guess in a more tangential sense, my gaming chair kind of represents that for me, because this is what I do for a living, and so having a more comfortable place to do my desktop streams from will come in way handy. Plus, I do use the chair for rest and relaxation when I'm not streaming, so it'll be good for that. You know, there's an argument to be made, but I think you've got a more direct claim. When JD Vance beats Newsom, do you think he'll fuck any of the furniture in the Oval Office? I think he will fuck all of the furniture in the Oval Office, with the possible exception of the desk. I don't think he will... I don't think he'll be attracted to the desk, and I don't think that he, even if he is attracted to it, will be able to conceive of a way to fuck it. Although he might just choose to screw a fucking pocket pussy to it and fuck the Oval Office desk. You say he's going to beat Newsom. I'm not so convinced that Newsom is actually going to be the nominee of choice in 2028 anymore. I still think that maybe, but I don't know. I still think he's a really good shoe-in, but there's a few other people I just wonder about. So let's talk about it. Who do you guys think? Because I guarantee you, as soon as the elections happen in November, probably by early next year, or no, definitely by early next year. By early next year, but possibly even earlier than that, you are going to start seeing campaign activities and announcements and shit from Democratic candidates for presidency in 2028. A lot of them don't want to announce too early because they don't, you know, they want to see if they can build up any hype and then play it the right way. But it's very common for after the big midterms that happen during an election cycle like this, it's pretty common that you see the contenders for the next presidential race come out and start announcing their candidacies pretty shortly after that. Let's talk about who's going to be in the Democratic battle for the nomination, I should say. Let's see here. So I am confident that Kamala Harris is going to do it again. So Kamala Harris, I think Amy Klobuchar is going to try another fucking failed run. So Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker, he has been doing so many publicity stunts since Trump got into office. There's no way he's not angling for another fucking run at it. Gavin Newsom, we just talked about that. AOC is kind of like, I think she will be in the race, but I think she'll eventually be tapped as a VP. So I don't think the fact that she's not going to win the race is going to matter much ultimately, because I think she's just such an ideal winning ticket VP pick. Let me think here. I think it is Newsom or Kamala, and neither can win, but I think the DNC will want to consolidate around Newsom. I think you're right. I think they're going to be more willing to consolidate around Newsom than they're going to be around Kamala. Or Kamala. I forget how to pronounce her name accurately, but I wonder, though. I do wonder. Because, see, typically, the Democratic Party has not allowed, or has, like, I don't know how you, whether, no, I'm just going to say not allowed. The Democratic Party has typically not allowed, in the past, losers to run twice. Which is why, in my opinion, Hillary Clinton has not run again. But it's also one of the things, Hillary Clinton is one of the things that makes me wonder if she won't possibly come back for another time, because she went for the nomination so many times before she ever got it in 2016. And even when she got the nomination in 2016, she continued to float the idea of maybe going at it again in 2020, floated the idea of maybe going at it 2024. I don't think she's going to make a run at it. I think she knows she's too old at this point. I think she knows that she's kind of like old news, and also kind of like spoiled in the mind of a lot of American voters. So I don't think they'll coalesce around her again. And the fact that they haven't done so since 2016, and the fact that she hasn't tried since then, makes me wonder if there's not some kind of like insider's understanding as to how they conduct this type of shit. So that's my prediction as for that. Yeah, I don't think, because Kamala Harris was the nominee in 2024 and lost to Trump, I don't think they will coalesce around her the way they did in that election year. I think you're right about Newsom, but I'm not as sure as I used to be. I used to be very certain about that position, and as more time goes on, the more I wonder if it might not end up being somebody else. No, Hillary is done. Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be Newsom and VP Josh Shapiro ticket, the Pennsylvania governor, the ultimate loser ticket. No. No, 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 no. 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 I don't pretend like I didn't just read that. Because if I didn't read it, it can't happen. The existential dread of a leftist voter when they realize they might have to fucking fight back against people arguing that they should vote for fucking Josh Shapiro. Ugh. Oh, God. I'm sick to my stomach. Can I just give you guys a random opinion? It has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. And you guys are gonna laugh your asses off and say I'm so wrong, but you're all idiots. White Castle is delicious. Best fucking sliders on the market. Not a truth everyone can accept altogether too easily, but a truth nonetheless. You're so right, girl. Oh, I knew you had taste. I knew you had taste. Shapiro was expected to be VP for Kamala. Damn. That's crazy. So they're literally, if that's true, that means we really could see a Newsom Shapiro ticket. That's awful. That's not a winning ticket. Everybody should know that's not a winning ticket. The DNC should know that's not a winning ticket. I don't even know if the DNC cares about winning anymore, though, to be honest with you. Fuck it. Like, why would they even want to win? Ultimately, the country, even if it does get worse, it gets better for them and their donors. And even if they don't win elections, they continue to get fundraising. And no matter how badly they do, and how little they do, and how little they win elections, there will always be gullible morons on the left willing to donate to the DNC. White Castle is delicious, I second. Hell yes, it is. Yes! Oh, I knew it! I knew you guys had good taste, man. Yeah, a lot of people don't have White Castle because at a certain point it becomes like mostly Crystal Burger and you can't really find White Castle. But if you've got one in your area and you've never tried it before, just try it out. They're weird, but they're good. They're not like regular burgers, but they're not that dissimilar either. And they're best with the hot mustard. That is the way I always dress mine. I get the ones that are, like the double patty with cheese. At least I think that's what I normally do, isn't it? Or is that what I normally do? I know I get the sliders with cheese, and I don't remember if I get them with anything else. Or if I get the doubles or whatever, but I know it's like cheese and pickle on there. And then I open that shit up and I put a smear of that hot mustard on there, and then you eat that bitch down, and it is so fucking good. They've also got the best crinkle fries. Unironically, the best crinkle fries. I want some fucking White Castle so bad now. Oh, why did I do this to myself? Schmear, yep. And that rhetoric is going to win him the election. Let me see here. The DNC is just going to go further Zionist to polar JD's anti-Zionist rhetoric. And that rhetoric is going to win him the election? Oh yeah, dude. That's fucking insane. That's something I'm worried about too, Margot, and I've heard other people talking about it, but you're the first person to talk about it in chat. There is a very real chance that if J.D. Vance, who has been talking a lot of shit on Israel lately in terms of them needing to figure their shit out and not be so reliant on America if they're going to interfere with our deals and all this other shit, he's been like indicating that he might go with the anti-Zionist position. The Trump administration is even kind of signaling, not very hard, but kind of signaling that they might decide to go the other way if this turns out to continue to be such a politically unpopular issue, and if Israel continues to make it so difficult for Trump and the regime to get what they want out of the situation. And if they do end up taking the anti-Zionist position, even if they don't actually be that, like, even if they don't actually bring any anti-Zionist policy, just having that rhetoric is going to outflank them to the left on that issue when it comes to the Democrats. They're going to outflank the Democrats to the left on the issue of Israel, Palestine, Israel and its fucking neighbors and everything. Just insane. And all they would have to do is appoint a new fucking Senate minority leader. Literally just get rid of fucking Chuck Schumer. Hakeem Jeffries too. But frankly, I think if you got rid of those two and replaced them with two actual progressives that were willing to tell the party, hey, we're not doing the fucking, like, Zionist thing anymore, I think that would make a huge difference. Is the Trump administration doing anything even remotely popular with the general public? Chuck. Yeah, not really, Riley. Not as far as I know, not as far as I'm aware. If they are, it slipped by my notice. At this point, it's only MAGA people that are claiming to be happy with what he's doing, and none of them can really explain how what he's doing that makes them happy and makes their lives better. And many of them can't even explain how what he's doing makes them happy. They've just got this, like, they've got the most vague and uninformed sense, the most vague and uninformed impression of what Donald Trump is doing on the national and local stage, and they are taking that to political debates and arguments online and everything, thinking it's an actual position, when really it's just a loose collection of aphorisms and likes and dislikes that could never represent a real philosophy, even if they tried to codify it. Yeah, neither of the Dems. Yeah, that's the problem. The Dems right now could be using the power of the bully pulpit and, like, governmental and procedural tactics. They could be doing stuff like that to stymie Trump's war effort, to force the Trump administration to abide by agreements that they make. They could likely be working to force Israel's hand in stopping their atrocities in Gaza and their assaults against their neighbors. The Democrats could be doing any number of things, and the fact that they refuse to do these things is, in my mind, a sign of willing, purposeful ineptitude. Opinions on Oklahoma? It's a beautiful state in places. I feel like around... There are places in Oklahoma that aren't really that neat. Like around, what is it? What am I thinking of? Tulsa, maybe? Like Tulsa and north and kind of northeast of Tulsa. Basically from like Tulsa north and east to Kansas and Missouri is the most nondescript, fucking lame ass, ain't nobody gives a shit about it type of fucking place. But around Henrietta type area, around Muskogee and everything, it starts to become a more interesting place with more geographical definition. And the farther west you go, the more interesting it gets, because now you start to get into the western plains where everything just kind of looks like you're in a western movie. As far as it politically, I don't know. Oklahoma's got a lot of problems, just like every other southern state does. I hope you guys do better with time. Oklahoma's just white people on meth. Margot. One quick, just let me, So, Margot, you said that, but I just want to point out for everybody in the chat, just in case you didn't know, because I think it's actually one of the cooler things about Oklahoma. Native Americans represent about 10% to 16%, depending on how it's calculated and what you take the numbers from, of Oklahoma's overall population, placing it second to California in terms of sheer number of Native Americans in a state, and second to Alaska in terms of overall percentage of the population made up. Which is pretty interesting, actually. Isn't there big American Indian reservations in Oklahoma? I thought that, like, let me look up something. Okay, so tribal sovereignty is stronger than ever. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruled that the historic reservation boundaries of the Muskogee, Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations were never formally abolished. This means about 40 to 45% of Oklahoma's land, including much of the city of Tulsa, is legally recognized as Indian country for purposes of federal criminal law. The Osage Nation uniquely retained its original reservation status, and they hold the mineral rights to what is referred to as their underground reservation. The reservation status primarily affects the legal system. State of Oklahoma's limited power to prosecute tribal members for crimes committed on these lands, with jurisdiction falling to the tribes and the federal government. However, everyday ownership of the land is mixed. Tribal members, non-native individuals, corporations, and municipalities all own private and public property within these reservation borders. And Oklahoma is currently home to 38 federally recognized tribes. Together, they operate massive economies, run healthcare systems, and employ tens of thousands of people, making them vital drivers of the state's economy. Yeah, so they're like a big state for Native Americans. And I wish Oklahoma would become more well known for its Native American population than its meth population. But, you know, wish in one hand, shit in the other, right? It was just a bit... No, I know, Margo. It was just an interesting conversation jumping off point, that's all. Just an interesting opportunity for me to share some cool Oklahoma facts. Nation, not tribe. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forget. Old habits die hard. Fun fact, did you guys know that cats, in fact that most animals, don't recognize the pointing instinct? Good kitty. Get that bug. I just think it's fascinating, right? Even our closest cousins, chimpanzees, don't understand a point. And the popular theory for explanation for that is that chimpanzees don't have any evolutionary memory or anything for a point, because chimpanzees have spent the last 7 million years of their specialization becoming a species that fights more than it cooperates, you know? So the idea of and they're very selfish animals. So the idea of like a chimpanzee pointing something out to another chimp is just kind of like silly and not something they would do. But dogs do understand a point. You can point at something and a dog will look that way. A dog understands what you're doing. A cat, though, is incapable of understanding, as is I believe it's chimps, orangutans, gorillas, most other animals. I think bonobos might be able to recognize a point. I don't remember. I think there is one other species of primate that recognizes pointing. Only dogs and some birds, I think, understand pointing. Yeah, I think you're right. I was thinking there was some other species of primate, but I may be wrong on that. But yeah, some birds will understand pointing too, because birds are incredibly intelligent animals. But yeah. Hell, maybe she's done. Guarantee you, as soon as I fucking get everything set back up, she'll start chasing that damn bug again. Kitty. Yeah, I think that chimps can learn some sign language, but as far as I know, they don't understand pointing. Because they're just not that cooperative. I think maybe they can be taught pointing, but I don't know. There's only a few animals that understand it innately, though. Cats don't. Most other animals don't. It's only like dogs and birds, like Riley said, and maybe a couple species of primate. I'm not sure. And it's a fascinating thing to me because it shows not only how super intelligent birds are compared to what we typically think of as animal intelligence, but it also, in my mind, demonstrates how long dogs have been with humanity and how fundamental the relationship has been that whole time. My cat is being a crackhead now. Well, it is top fucking cat crack hours. Like, now is the time of night when they want to be going and doing stuff. My cat just caught a moth and ate it. What games do you play? Lately I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 4. But that reminds me, while I've got money, I need to buy Ark Survival Ascended. As cats do, yes. Indeed. Ever played RDR2? That's another one I should get. No, I haven't played it, but it looks like an interesting game. It really does look like a super fun game. Phoebes, do you play Stardew Valley? No, I don't play Stardew Valley. It is? I have heard that it is. Or Celeste? No. No. I'm so excited. Dude, I got an account of mine that's been in collections for years paid off today, y'all. Literally just called him up. I was like, I'd like to pay my account in full. I don't even know the account number because I threw away the collections letter. But I'm on Credit Karma now. So I fucking checked it out. And I fucking was like, alright, I'll pay this off. It's not that much. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll make the choice. I'll do it. I even used the Trump voice on the phone. I'll pay my bills. I'm not really known for doing that sort of thing, but I'll do it this time. Celeste is like the trans game. It made me cry. I'll have to check it out. What about God of War 2018? No. I'm really not that broad a gamer, guys. I've played Ark Survival Evolved. I love that game. I've played War Thunder extensively. I really love that game. Really fucking good at War Thunder. I'm like legitimately good at War Thunder. It's probably the only game that I've played long enough and am familiar enough with and with how it works and everything to consider myself genuinely good at it. Not just okay, but genuinely good. I always have a positive kill to death ratio on War Thunder, or at least I usually do. It's very rare that I don't. So there's that. Ark Survival Evolved, War Thunder, Skyrim, Battlefield 4. I played Battlefield 5 for like 5 minutes, but it wouldn't run on my PC before. Now it probably would. I just need to reinstall it, but I'm not going to do that until I get my new drive in. Sims. I like both Sims 3 and Sims 4. I had Sims 2, but honestly Sims 2 is just a bit primitive for me to like it. I don't know. I feel like I would enjoy playing The Sims 2 if I were to play it as like an experiment or like as I don't know how to put it, but if I was not playing it with the intention of having fun, but rather like absorbing the feeling of playing one of the first builder simulation, kind of town simulation games that was widely successful and popular and kind of represents like a big element of my childhood, even if I don't consciously recognize it. Because my sister was all into Sims 2. I used to be into Sims 2, apparently, when I was a kid. Because it does bring back memories. But anyway, yeah, so the Sims 3, Sims 4, I already said most of the other ones. Am I missing any? Monster Hunter World. I played most of the Monster Hunter series, except for MH1 and MH2. But I played MH3. I played MH3U, I played MH4, I played MH4U. And I play Boss Hunter Raw. I have not played the one on the Switch yet, nor have I played the newest one on the PC. You played GTA 5, right? Yes, GTA 5. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes. Yes. SimCity 4 was my jam and Roller Coaster Tycoon when I was younger. Hell yeah. You should play this new indie game when it comes out. It's called GTA 6. Oh, dude, I think I've heard of that. I think I might have heard like a couple of press releases from the small little indie developer, Rockstar Studios, that's putting it out. Yeah. Pretty cool, man. Okay. Yeah, I hope it goes well for them too. I'm really excited, you know. I've never heard of them before in my life, but, you know, they've been developing this game for like 15 years from what I can hear. No, it hasn't been quite that long. But seriously though, let's think about this. 2015, right? Or 2013? When the fuck was GTA 5 released? Wasn't it like 2015? Am I misremembering that? Wasn't it like 13, 15, something like that? Something like that. 2013, 20 fucking 13. 20 motherfucking 13. It's been 13 years since the last GTA game. 13 fucking years. Fucking years, dude. There are kids who were born after the release of GTA 5 who are now old enough to, like, stay at home by themselves responsibly. Think about that. are you bringing it to me? I think it's still alive. You gotta get it. Off she goes. That was cute, though. That kitty is so cute. Her name is Sissy. My mom named her. It says I haven't played or purchased GTA 5 on the PS app. Well, maybe it was Steam you were playing it on. I don't have a computer. I play solely on console. Oof. Did you hallucinate your progress? Did you hallucinate your progress, my friend? You know, we don't have that much longer in the stream tonight, so if you guys have enjoyed the channel, if you guys have enjoyed the stream, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell turned on so that you get notifications when I go live in the future. We're not going to go just yet, but I wanted to let you guys know about that so that you can get ready. Can I just play you guys my favorite instrumental music? I just want to know if this song is familiar to anybody else. Like, honestly, if I could find that out, that would be good. Because I can't be the only person that heard this song and a bunch of other different Reasoner songs put to different games on Newgrounds. I feel like there's got to be other people that did that. I don't know, man. I don't want to listen to too much of their stuff, but that was Reasoner, Newgrounds musician. Made all kinds of instrumentals for a long time, then just kind of disappeared, as far as I know. Probably dead now, because I think they were kind of middle aged when they were making their music, and well. Last time I was regularly listening to Reasoner tracks, they were already like 5, 6, in some cases 10 years old. And that was 10 years ago itself. So, do the math on that shit. There are Reasoner songs that are 20 years old, which is just insane for me to think about. But, I just remember them being on so many different Newgrounds games and stuff, and that being such a fundamental part of my high school years. It says I haven't played GTA 5, but I have achievements in the game. That is insane. I have 145 hours on RD4. That's not too bad. RDR2, I mean. Unpopular opinion, Knack 2 is good. I don't think I've ever played it. I don't think I've ever played it. Well, fuck it. I guess it, like, what is it? What's the worst that can happen? What's the fucking worst that can happen if I keep playing some Reasoner? What's the worst that can happen? Well, like, literally, what is the possible worst thing that could happen? Copy strike? Well, that's the thing, though. They're not gonna copyright strike me. I'm just little old Phoebes. I'm not doing nothing wrong. And I'm using it transformatively by using it as the background music to a larger and, you know, like a different work, right? It's like you can have a song in the background of a movie and it's like fair use and shit. Although I guess if you like use too much of it or feature it too prominently, then you do have to like pay the artists and shit. I don't know, it's weird how that shit works. Because it's like technically it's totally fair use. Or I think it should be technically fair use to have a song playing in the background of a movie, but it's probably not fair use to use that as part of the soundtrack of the movie without giving the people who made it their royalties and everything. And I wonder how that actually applies. Like, I wonder how that works out. I don't know. Maybe I should learn more about copyright. It's not how copyright works. Well, I'm not even sure if this is like music that's actually fucking copyrighted though. That's the fucking thing. All of Reasoner's work was released under a Creative Commons by attribution. As far as I know, I believe all of Reasoner's work was released under a CC BY-SA label, or under a CC BY-SA attribution license. Which means as long as I say that it's Reasoner, I believe I'm free to use it, reproduce it, distribute it, etc. It sounds like Sims building music. Fun fact, did you know there is actually a Michael Moore documentary with the Sims building music in it? I can't find it right now. Yeah, I can't find it right now. But there is a song from The Sims 3 that is used on a Michael Moore documentary. Wish I could find it right now. I could prove it all to you. Watch Dogs Legions is the worst agent I've played. The second worst is Console Hollow Knight. Right on. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off here for now. Thank you guys for hanging out. It has been fun, but I'm getting tired. And I want to go inside and eat. So I will see you guys later. Thank you guys again. Peace.